let's say, are actually making it harder for you guys to live safely there.
Oh,
There's
it's
a lot
terrible.
of patriots out here.
Janet Napolitano is from this state, for God's sakes. Her terms here is what got her job in Washington, and now she acts like
I think what got her job in Washington, it might have been something that he agreed with as far as illegal immigration. Now, I look at a little bit bigger picture. We have a lot of problem with drugs out there. We have a lot of problem with illegal immigration, but a lot of that has dwindled and slowed down or stemmed itself just because of our economic lack of economic progress. So a lot of them are, somebody used the term self-deporting and going back home until the jobs spark back up. But we also have another issue that may be an underlying reason why he's keeping the borders open. Alabama, our sister state, my border state, as a matter of fact, it's 53 feet behind my house. I live on the Alabama state line here. They passed a illegal immigration law, and most of it got upheld by a federal judge, and it went into effect. And the first person that was arrested as an illegal immigrant under that law about 3 or 4 months ago was from Yemen.
See, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, that opportunity to get across the border, we're not just focusing on people from Mexico. I mean, everybody can go through Mexico and then come across, and that brings all the international terrorists in addition to all the drug runners. It has not slowed down here for the drug cartel. In fact, they're even going in and buying up ranch land so they have more land to run across. The Tucson Police Department or Sheriff's Department has gone and purchased 2 aircraft to try and possibly keep up with the amount of activity, because of course Obama, so graciously gave us some people to help watch the borders, some I think 1,500 to be scattered amongst everybody, but he's taken them all back. Now there's like 200 left to cover 4 states. It's ridiculous.
Like Jan said, like your governor said, she was thankful for providing troops to help enhance security down there, but she said it's not enough. It isn't.
It's not enough. I mean, the stuff that goes on in this state if America truly knew, more people would be speaking. Unfortunately, not everybody borders the Mexico and U.S. border. I mean, Arizona is all, every lick of our property borders Mexico. So they come across in any place down there, and I've been physically attacked twice. They come in and they, feast on my water that's on my property and stuff, and I'm forever.
You just had that happen this week too, didn't you?
Just this week. Went out in the morning, went to get my hose. It had been disconnected and moved over, and I live alone. I don't like to advertise that, but I do. And so, it's not like I have Alzheimer's and I don't remember disconnecting the hose. When the hose has been messed with, they're coming through. They all fill their jugs and they keep on going. And God forbid I happen to walk a dog or go out to potty a dog and catch them there, because they would just kill me and be done with it. They would not think twice.
One of the things that some of my some of my listeners have emailed me about is like, if we just legalized marijuana, we wouldn't have this problem anymore. Phil, what do you think about that? What do you think about the idea of legalizing marijuana would relieve us of all these drug problems?
Personally, I can't even smoke marijuana. I've been around it. I have an allergic reaction to it, but I don't think it's going to cure anything.
And that is not the majority of what is trafficked.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to cure anything. They're always, put it in a small business text. You're always out there looking for a market, and that's exactly what these cartels are doing, and they're willing to protect that market violently.
Yep.
If the legalization of marijuana were to occur here in the United States, and then we are all growing marijuana and making money, and the IRS was taxing it, well, they'll move on to another product. They'll design more product. They're in the business to make a lot of money with through violent means, and they're going to continue doing that as long as we allow these borders to remain porous. And that's just part of the problem you guys have down there.
It's a mess, and the quantities that they catch and the quantities that get burned up and stuff. So obviously their profit margin is so huge, they can afford to take huge losses of inventory and not even skip a beat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, their labor rate is extremely low. I don't think it costs too much to get a couple guys and a donkey to haul stuff around and get it to the processing station. They down there in Mexico, I got customers that are moving companies down there because of the labor rate.
Right.
But that's just one part of the problem is the drug running. The other part of the problem is, well, let me back up. We're not constitutionally, our government is failing us by not doing what the federal government was supposed to do, and that's defend this nation. That is a porous border.
And that's why Jan Brewer is so pissed off.
She's a constitutionalist. Over here in Georgia, we follow her. I'm on a Facebook page right now. It's a private. It's a group I belong to. It's Private Border Fence Initiative. I don't know who invited me. I accept the invitation. I jumped on board, and I cruise through it once in a while. And even if we put a private border fence up there, I think that I feel that the federal government would find a way to ensure that. That the cartel, everybody knows about Fast and Furious. I figure they figure out a way to level the fence and let them on through. I feel like they're almost there inviting them.
Cunningham just resigned today. For the leader of Fast and Furious just resigned today.
I didn't catch that. I've been kind of out of the loop all day.
Yeah, he just stepped down. He wants too much heat in the kitchen. I mean, when 2,000 automatic weapons disappear and it's all your F up, and they all get to Mexico when they were supposed to all be tracked, somebody did a major whoops, and the rats are scattering now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're finding all this stuff now in other crimes that are getting committed. Hello?
Yeah.
Well, I know that I have the legal right to protect myself, and you should feel that way there also.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a mess, and Sheriff Joe, he's constantly trying to defend himself too. When Obama's come after him, now Obama's suing him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Obama's got he's got so many lawsuits going against Arizona and our sheriff, and forget the rest of the nation. He's just spending all his time retaliating against this, and then of course he has the audacity to go on camera saying, "Oh, it's just the fact that a Republican will give any opportunity a chance to look like they're making headway against a Democrat." That has nothing to do with what she was talking to him about.
Yeah.
She's saying you are failing us, period. I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Libertarian, a Republican. I don't care what you are. You're failing us.
Yeah, she's right in his face. Yeah.
I like that.
I love her.
Funky. She's a ball of fire.
I do. I know. I love her. I love her too. I mean, thank God we have her. Thank God we have her.
I was thinking, because I'll be honest with you. Well, this is another question I have for you, Bill. Do you have any particular? Who do you like for president? Anybody?
Oh, I did and was, even though I was accused of being a racist because my sign said I'm not hiring until Obama's gone. That was the first thing to come out of the pipeline. I was a racist.
Sure.
I was a Herman Cain supporter.
Right.
I've listened to Herman Cain for years, but now I'm sitting there and I'm bouncing back and forth between Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum. I will not. Well, let me rephrase that. If Mitt Romney happens to be our nominee, I will do my patriot duty and I will vote for him just because I feel Obama's agenda, whatever it is, whatever he's got going on, it will destroy this nation, or it will at least lead to the destruction of this nation. So, but right now I'm bouncing back and forth between Newt Gingrich and his pizzazz, and Santorum, who most aligns with my beliefs as a Christian, as a supporter of the Second Amendment and being pro-life. So there's a lot of things that nobody says about Rick Santorum that they say just the opposite. It's kind of a liberal tactic. They say exactly opposite of what a person is, and I know this firsthand. They called me un-American, treasonous, unpatriotic because I wouldn't hire. And there was a few liberals that I told on the phone. I said, well, I'll tell you what, you take your money, you start a business, you build the model, and you hire whoever you want, and you save this nation. But right now, I'm here to provide for my employees and my family, and I'm not going to bring on people just to help Obama out. It's not in the cards.
Well, it's not just that. It's not just that, Bill. As I understand it, the way you explain this, see, when I first read your sign on your truck, it made me think that you were saying, doggone it, I'm not doing anything till that man's out of here.
Right.
That's really not what your statement was, as I understand it. It seems to me that your statement was, we don't have any hope of being able to hire anybody until we get someone else at the helm.
Exactly.
That's it. And he needs to accept responsibility for what he has done. Now, if he were to approve the Keystone Pipeline tomorrow and it directly affected me, I'd take those signs off. If I was able to hire, I'd take them off, eat my words, and I'd move on. As an entrepreneur, that's the spirit of being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Now, you're always looking forward to bringing on more customers and growing your company and bringing on more employees that can service your customers' needs. It made no sense what they were accusing me of. I'm not politically assassinating this man, and I definitely, with a company as small as mine, 5 trucks and 7 employees, and 2 of them are part-time, I don't have what it would take to politically assassinate this man by going on strike. Come on. Let's get realistic about this.
Well, they're giving you a lot of power, Bill.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, furthermore, if I could maybe I have that ability. Let's put it in play. Now that the liberals have made their show, I'll just turn it around on them and see what happens.
Hey, really, all you got to do is just give them enough rope; they'll hang themselves.
I'm sorry, I got a little passionate there, but you're focusing back on your problem down there. I think it's to the point where it's obvious, at least to the rest of I don't know if I can speak for the rest of the nation, but at least to me, and what I think the rest of the nation understands, is they are handicapping you intentionally for some reason, whether it's they've got an agreement with the cartels, or they got an agreement with the president of Mexico or the government of Mexico to allow that border to be porous. Maybe they're wanting money to go back. And the people that are suffering are the people that are living right there. The rancher that was killed, that was mentioned in Jan's book.
Yeah. Nice man. Very nice man.
That was traumatizing for me to hear about it in the news when it happened. I'm like, why did it happen? I'm a Marine,
we thought that would have been a rude awakening to the president, that something like that is occurring, and he's not been the last.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't even want to give Mrs. Brewer, I assume she's married, Jan Brewer, the respect to go down there and even look at the border. And
no, he said he didn't have time. He doesn't have time, but he has time to go see the last space shuttle launch. Big damn deal.
And he's got his
golf. He had time to go down to Disney World a couple of weeks ago and make sure that the Acorn had registered Mickey Mouse and Cinderella.
His golf swing is
He's full of shit. He's really just full of shit.
Now, wait a minute.
I wouldn't be surprised if the cartel was funding his campaign.
Hang on. You're being a little hard on him. Now, his golf swing is improved quickly, okay? Now, seriously. Come on now. Have you seen what he was golfing like a year ago and how he's golfing now? It's amazing the improvement he's had.
Well,
somebody's got to take up Tiger Woods' slack.
The golf swing has improved, and certainly the vacation destinations, he's got to spend a lot of time on those vacations, and so I can see where he wouldn't have the time.
And not to mention the fact that Michelle gets to take her own private jet when she goes somewhere separate from him, which is only costing us another $500,000 each trip, which is handy,
The queen of everybody needs to eat right, who's got a keister the size of Texas. Give me a break.
I can always count on Con.
Hey, don't break bad on Texas. I'm from Texas now. Come on now.
No, I'm saying everything's bigger in Texas, right? That's what y'all say. Everything's bigger in Texas. Well, there it is, sitting in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I can always count on Connie to give us the unrestrained version of her opinion. Always. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Me too. Yeah. Well, I want to remind everybody you're listening to Mark Mercer's Loving, Caring, Sharing. On the line with us is Bill Looman. And for those of you who've tuned in late and you don't know who Bill is, what's going on, just going to remind you that Bill got himself a whole lot of notoriety. How long ago was this, Bill? About 6 months?